welcome to another episode of sorting out the cuck of the past and getting Meraai ready for roadworthy. Things have been going really well. Rear wheels are back on after the suspension and the rear has been done. What we're waiting for now is our mate Tyron. I'm going to go and check it up on him now to see what's going on there. They need to just sort out this cross member in the front, then they can install the turbo and everything get fixed up. Then we will send it across to that shed over there where they will fix up all the bodywork that is bombed out. The Bodywork people. East Coast Scratch and Dent was a body shop. I shudder to think what could have happened if we had not bought Meraai to Tyron's company Tread Check for her wheel alignment. It was the beginning of our heartbreak, but also more importantly, it was the beginning of making Meraai into the vehicle she was always meant to be. Our mate Kevin Crummick and his Buffalo were one of the reasons that we turned to Tyron Lepan. Over my shoulder you can see the bracket that gave me heart failure last week. It's just been put into place now and held in place with standard bolts. And what will happen now is Tyron will now take it off. He knows where it needs to be strengthened. All that crap welding needs to be cut out, new steel put in there, and a proper welding job done. Because this is a vital support for the whole front of the nose structure of the vehicle. Tea time. Fixing this bracket revealed another wee problem. With everything done properly, as it should have been done first time round, the mounting holes on the chassis no longer line up, and we still need to finalize the engine mounts. The guy working on the engine block support system is Cyril, and he had some interesting things to say about just how functional those safety critical engine mounting blocks were.
The threads here damaged, so I've put inserts in there.
Okay.
The threads are damaged, so your bolt wasn't grabbing, wasn't taking. So I've replaced with an insert, so your bolt now that used to be original will go back to original.
Okay.
And will work again.
Okay, fantastic.
You shouldn't have a problem with that.
So just to reiterate what Cyril said, those bolts were stripped. There was nothing holding that engine in place. A 550 kilogram block of steel. Nothing holding it in place. Let's move on to something that any body shop should be able to do properly. Hang a vehicle's door. Our main access door needs some serious work done. The lock packed up about the second time I used it. I mean, there was stupid little spaces that have inside. I've made a new shaft to connect the outer and the inner lock goodies together. I know it sounds confusing, it is confusing, but the big issue is the way this door is hung. The spaces are looks like bits of aluminium that were lying on the floor that were shoved in there, and I can remember pointing that out and saying it must be neated up, and just done properly. It still has not been done properly, so I made Tyron, I need him to look at this door and to make any changes that are needed to make this thing into a functional door. Because at the moment, it's not. Like all of the doors are actually stuffed. Both the driver's door and the passenger door no longer close properly. It's been quite interesting bumping into people here on the lower South Coast. People would come up to me and say, "Yo, hey, how's Meraai going, bre?" And when I look them in the eye and I explain to them exactly what has happened since we took delivery of our Meraai from East Coast Scratch and Dent, and I tell them the situation we're in and what we have spent fixing a few little things, here are their jaw drops, hey? Then they shake their head. I won't use some of the words that some of them say to me when they describe what they think of those who did this to us, but anyway, we're fixing it good. Finally, we have some news regarding the Hadida cuck welds on our front bracket. Remember these things? Well, the Oaks have been busy fixing the absolute mess, if you can call it welding, that the guys at East Coast Scratch and Dent did. And yeah, so it's all been strengthened up. They've reinforced it. It just needs to be sealed up, a little bit of sanding off, but it is now strong as it should have been done the very first time around. The bracket still needs to be finished off and cleaned up before installation. Things are taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. If you look behind me, this is Tyron's workshop, and it is pumping busy. Local farmers' trailers, they break down, they come here, they've got to be fixed, and they've got to be fixed now. But I have been promised that cross section, that the guys have now finally got all the dimensions right, and it will be inserted hopefully today being Wednesday. But if another trailer comes in, I might get pushed to the side. I now have time to share some info from my recent trip to Johannesburg. Those of you who have been following us for quite a while will remember around about May 2022, I had a bit of an issue with my Snowmaster fridge. I took it in for a service here at the local agents on the south coast of KwaZulu-Natal, and they screwed it up. It came back with a horrible rattle. Here's a little reminder of what happened. You hear that? That's the sound of a Snowmaster fridge after it has been serviced by Proline on the lower south coast. Fan-frickin-tastic. Now recently I took that there fridge up to Johannesburg with me when I went up to see my very clever daughter graduating. And I took it to Snowmaster, described to them exactly what the fault was, and said, please guys, fix it. I went to collect my Snowmaster, loaded in the back of my little Ignis, drove over the speed hump by the security guard. As I left Snowmaster, and I heard click clunk, click clunk, click clunk, and I nearly had a front wobble. Went back, went in there growling a little bit, but the people were stunning. And this is good service, guys. Snowmaster came along, the mechanic jumped in the car with me, he drove with me, he listened, and he said, yes, we don't get to test it like that on the bench. So Snowmaster, I have a suggestion for you. Why don't you invest a few little bucks and have like a wobbling platform, something that goes, you know, and you can put the fridge on it before you give it, because all of us who have those fridges go over terrain that goes, all of us, all right? And if there are any rattles, you'll pick it up. I think it's almost a critical part of your maintenance. But your service was impeccable. The fridge is with them. They will sort out that rattle, and they are going to courier it down to me. So yeah, while I initially had that little wobble, they sorted it. So thank you, Pierre from Snowmaster. At long last, there is a gap at tread check, so that the all-important front bracket can be attended to. This is that bracket that was in the front of the engine, the one where the engine bolts was stripped, that was supposed to be holding the engine in place, and that our man Sarl has sorted out. So what the guys have done, they've made this a bit shorter, so it's easy to put in and out. And now what they need to do is strengthen these welds. So they are going to weld a metal strip over the welds on each side. So Quinton, who's doing the welding, is just explaining it to me. There's some little holes in here, and that is a pot weld. I don't get excited. It doesn't mean you get correct when you like welding. It's you make these little holes, and it's all part of securing this little bit to this brace, because this thing has to be solid. It is refreshing to see that in this workshop, worker safety is a priority. I have just had a little epiphany. When I watch Quinton welding, it is so different compared to the other oaks who did welding on Meraai. As an outsider who knows bugger all about welding, it seems more solid and more purposeful. It's not like ka-cha, 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 ka-cha. It's like he starts at point A, and then, you know what I'm saying? There's more purpose to the weld. It's not all over the frickin' place. Once Quinton has completed the welding, the welds will be smoothed out and the brackets treated for rust before assembly takes place. It has been over 2 months since we started redoing and repairing the shocking workmanship that East Coast Scratch and Dent carried out over a 3-year period on Meraai. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I am so relieved that we found the current companies that are fixing our baby. If I think too hard about what we have had to endure financially and emotionally, I'd say over the last 3 years, but more specifically over the last few months, man, I'll go crazy. But yeah, I really and truly cannot wait for this side of our journey to end. Yeah, and we're getting there. We are getting there, and I see it when I see the guys working on it. I see professionals at work. I was blind, and now I can see, as they say in the classics. But yeah, and am I bitter? Yes, I am bitter. It's very hard not to be bitter. You know, a dream was ruined. It was almost destroyed totally, and we're busy salvaging that dream. Anyway. Yeah, next week hopefully we will get around to assembling the whole nose thing, and then the vehicle will be going over to Tyron Lepan, and he will start sorting out those doors, sorting out the entrance steps to the vehicle, which is a problem, the steps to the driver, getting in and out of the driver's cab, there's a problem, so lots to do. Anyway, I'm waffling now. Guys, please look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, and keep safe.